post or video is just our opinion, not professional advice. Talk to an expert before making big decisions. Don't trust everything you see online.
Why, Uce? Hey, welcome to Uce Podcast. I'm your host, Puni Moa, and I got the beautiful Queen here with us.
Hey.
Our first episode, Uce Podcast. You want to tell the world what Uce stands for? UCE?
Uce is for Uso, and for it's maybe for men, don't you think? For boys, Uso, like the sisters. What we're gonna say?
Usos, when it's a girl to a girl, you know.
Okay.
It's
It's a slang spelling Uce, UCE, but it's actually USO, Uso.
Yep, that's correct. Thank you very much for that, Queen. That's a slang. What's another definition of slang? Or like, short term, or how people, just for how friends call you. Is there another proper way to, the word slang?
Well, slang is just, the people that you associate with, just use it to, I don't know. It's like, I look at it as an acronym, but on the streets, those slang.
There you go. It's an acronym for our educated folks out there who's tuning in. And slang, of course, is for us, the urban listeners. That's what I was trying to get to. Let's jump right to it. What other kind of slang names you remember back then? Because obviously we was 80s babies. You have any cool slang names that people used to rep back then?
Man, I remember little slang terms like "you tripping." People don't use those terms anymore unless you grew up around in that era, either the late 80s and early 90s. You remember that? You tripping? Do you know you tripping?
Yep. I think that's more of a Bay Area slang.
Like it depends on what region you're from. There's different slangs for different regions. So yes, you said Bay Area. That's the western region down in Northern California. You tripping was always, saying, or you smoking, or things that. What about you? What type of slangs you remember growing up?
Man, remember when WWF was hot? Well, it's still hot now. Big ups to the Usos and the Rock and the families and all of them. But yeah, suck it. We used to always just say, hey, and somebody looks at you, suck it. Yeah, it's kind of dumb now that I think about it, but at that time it was cool.
Yeah.
It was a thing. Or the mankind, like just just stuff like that. Or
Well, every time whatever's popular, either on TV or here on the radio station back in the days, the catchy phrase, you would always use those, and that becomes a slang. So yeah, that's what back in the 80s and 90s.
Agree on that one.
And then let's not talk about the food prices back in the days also.
Oh my gosh.
Late 80s, 90s, I just came across one of the McDonald's lists. Like, you remember back then, they used to have supersize it for 39 cents, and the meals were $2.99, $3.99. Nothing. Yes, you can actually go with $5 and you can get a full-blown meal, and then you get to supersize. Now, I remember that growing up in the 90s.
Especially when they went when they had that special 39 cents, and we used to drive by grab a whole bunch, because we was all in Frisco. That was the go-to meal for the whole family. Oh man, those are the good old days.
And $10, you could feed the entire family.
That's what I'm talking
about. Drive-through, yes, absolutely.
I miss them good old days.
But the best part, is the music. Growing up, I like all genres of music: rock, slow rock, R&B. I even enjoyed rap back in those days, so yeah. And being a Samoan, it's rare to have people, individuals like us into rock. I was into rock and roll. I was into some of the rave music. But I love country, I love R&B and so forth. I just love all the genres. So when when I used to kick it back in the days with family or friends, I sometimes I forget who I'm hanging around. I'd be playing my own music in my own zone. They're like, "You need to change the music. You trip killing this party."
Agreed. Yep, same thing here. I mean, shoot, all kind of genre was the thing. I remember growing up back home, I didn't realize that a lot of the music back then was like coming from Europe, like going to eat pizza. It's
Mm.
like a lot, yeah, when I was growing up. Because my brother used to come visit us from Frisco and he'll be like, man, these songs are slapping. I'm like, I know, bro. Until I came out to the US in the early 2000s and realized that, oh, okay, a lot of stuff. UB40,
Mhm.
you know, Bob Marley, even though he's from Jamaica, but record label was, I believe, I'm not sure if it was from the UK, but just artists like that and stuff.
And the beats are slapping, because I remember when just visiting some more than actually moving there in the mid 90s. Um, the beats were slapping. You didn't understand one word, but everybody was still, still singing this. I thought that was really cool. Didn't really know what it meant, but like you said, the beat's good. It's all good.
I think that's what we're all about too. It's just about
Yeah.
the beat back then. Because I mean, until I came out here in the US, growing up out here, getting older out here, I realized I'm like, man, what is that thing they have on the social media platform? It's like today I'm now years old. When you just finally realize that the lyrics you was dancing to back in the days is
Oh,
actually perverted and like just really sexual. Just go.
well, that just shows how we didn't pay attention to the lyrics. It's just the beat was very good, and
Mm-hmm.
until you get older, you realize what the lyrics actually mean.
Yeah, I remember one of them songs was from Inner Circle that la 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 come on, and the dude was pretty much talking about sexual heal, like he wants to bang the chick that he's trying to holler at. I'm like, oh,
Like, okay,
oh,
that's what you were rocking to, lads, back in the days. But hey, you didn't know.
Queen. We was only eighth grade because we had a party. The school had a party when you're about to get ready to go to the ninth grade. And that was one of the hot songs back then. And that was, all eighth graders were just jamming to a provocative song. I'm like, okay, shows you how much we know.
You all were rocking it on the bus. If you guys were riding the bus in eighth
Oh
grade,
yeah. Yep, yep.
I'm telling you, those buses, and it still goes on till now. I'm just going back
Mm-hmm.
to the bus, but the music, yes, music,
Yeah.
yeah, so different. But it's like you hear some of the music back in the beats, the background. You hear it from the
Mm-hmm.
'70s to the '80s to the '90s to the early 2000s, and now beats with different artists, using it and with their lyrics and stuff. So music is a wonderful thing because it just keeps going, but it's just different genres now using different ways of doing music. But yeah,
Damn, them good old days.
and let's not talk about the clothing back in the '80s and the '90s.
Hey, aren't the kids nowadays rocking the clothes that we used to rock back then? I mean, it feels like it too.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like I was like years ago, I saw bell bottoms come back. Now you see tie dyes in again. You remember tie,
Mm-hmm. Yep, yep. You're
and
right.
now, yeah. And I remember growing up, we used to bleach our jeans, wash it, and then tear it up on purpose. But now you buy those things. I mean,
For a
yeah,
pricey price.
yeah,
Yeah. The kids like it nowadays and stuff.
it looks cool, but little do they know their parents rocked it back in the days, and unless the parents show them pictures, then they finally believe it. But yeah, it's just a repeat clothing fashion cycle.
Hmm. Fashion. We had it, being from Samoa, yeah, we were really I guess I want to say up to date with the fashion, the music, but it was coming from all angles, from the UK, from America, even from Africa too. That was a cool thing. Oh, even Asia, all over Asia. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and the fashion.
Honestly, you guys, you know how growing up in Samoa, Samoa wasn't too far behind on music, like you're saying, in fashion, because you had influences like, you know, of course, the TV, then you have your family members come through, sending their loved ones back home, updated stuff, you know, the clothing, the CDs or tapes back in the days, you know, and then you want to make sure that your siblings or your cousins are up to date, so when they go to school they can slap and be you know, claim like the first ones to have it. It was just all about, you know, like who had it first and so forth back then. I remember that.
Yeah.
But Samoa now, man, I mean, our island's up to date, you know, and I'm very proud of that. So, but back then it was hard, you know, but communication was through letter, snail mail, you know, back in those days. That's how you communicate, if you, because calling was so expensive. So we write each other, pen pals, and that's how we got our list of things to send back home. And we out here who didn't have jobs, we try our best to save up, you know, our lunch money and gather these things our siblings or cousins asking for. And whatever little we have, we just send it home just to ensure that they get the most updated stuff.
And you know what? I remember being on the end of the receiving.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it felt like it was $1 million. You know, to be honest, it was a well appreciated. Even though we didn't realize it was like pay less shoes back then that auntie used to send us back home, or
Oh my
hand me
gosh, yes.
downs, or
Mm-hmm.
hand me downs. You know, but
Yep.
we were grateful. You know, it's amazing because even just transitioning to the U.S. in 2000, I just fit right in. People didn't realize that I was actually spent most of my childhood life, actually my entire childhood life, in American Samoa. But they were, just surprised, like, dude, you speak good English. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, that's because it's spoken out there. I mean, everything is I'm surprised that people don't realize that we're also a U.S. territory.
Yeah.
So it's all good though, because I'll be like, yeah, I'm from American Samoa.
American Samoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
have to educate a lot of people here too. It's a good education, you know. Some, like when I travel different parts of the US, you know, especially in the south, east, you know, northeast, whatever. So some of them honestly have not heard of Samoans, you know. They're mistaking it for Somalians and so forth. But I let them, you know, educate them. No, we're actually in a American territory. And I just go to the map, say we're a little dot on the map, and they just start laughing. And then, you know, but yeah, growing up in the 90s, 80s, and then moving to Samoa, you know, and being on that other end, receiving things, while my sister who moved from Samoa moved back to the mainland. I mean, it was cool
mm-hmm,
getting, you know, a package. It was exciting getting
mm-hmm.
on that bus, going down, you know, to the post office, you know, just checking if that box is in.
The
Because I
good
knew
old
what was
days.
coming. You knew what was coming, but it's the excitement of going down there and getting something from the mainland. That was an awesome feeling growing up.
And that's a good thing you brought that up. That's the whole point of why Uce Podcast
Mm-hmm.
is to cover that. It's not, I'm not tired. I'm not going to say that I'm tired of explaining where I'm from,
Mm-hmm.
because now I'm out here in way south of America, started from the West, moved my way to Midwest, and now I'm here all the way in the South Carolina area. And hopefully this podcast can be educational purposes. We're not
Yeah.
experts, but we're just want to share how it is for us and our, I guess, provision or through our eyes
Mm-hmm.
and how we see things being American citizens. So yeah, big ups. We got anything else you want to cover on the back end of days? I want to go with movies. What about the movies? Shoo.
Oh man, when you look at the movies nowadays, I mean the movies that we watched in the days,
Mm-hmm.
how the technology has advanced so much. Like I just watched Footloose, or what was, yeah, Back to
Mm-hmm.
the Future. when you watch it at the time when it first came out, it was awesome. It's still amazing, but it's like, how the technology and digital era, I was like, man, only if they had this back then, this would have been beyond awesome, but it's still awesome. But yeah, the movies, oh my goodness. A lot of the movies were innocent. I don't know. It's people had things, a lot of movies actually had like it was related to current events at the time, things going on, and they love and what I noticed too is about some of the movies were like talking about future stuff, and some of the stuff
Mm-hmm.
actually came to fruition. So I love the movies back then. What was your favorite movie as a kid? And
Oh man, I guess I will have to, you know, list it up in a category. So, like, let's say if it's an action movie, there'll be like Rambo, Chuck
mm,
Norris movies, what's his name, Bruce Lee, all them karate movies was, them Chinese ones or Asians ones or Japanese or China, the ones where they're speaking English, but your mouth is moving this way. I know what you did with my son, but your lips is, yeah, you can tell that it's
right,
a
right.
voiceover. Those were a fan favorite of mine. And when it comes to romance, a lot of romance too. All them stuff. I mean, I blame Disney for my past mistakes growing up. Everything I thought I seen on Disney with their love, romance when it comes to cartoons and stuff like that. Like that's what life was about. But no, it wasn't. But to get to your point, it was still a great thing because we didn't have technology what we have now. We didn't know what we didn't know. So going to the movies was an event that was, I want to say, it was a great feeling, or even just watching a movie with the family because that's where all the family, there's a lot of things that benefited that movies did for us growing up too.
Yeah.
It's a time for the family to get together and just enjoy a movie, sit down, and just enjoy life and just. It's also what is it? Helps with your imagination because we should just make things up. Oh, MacGyver TV show. That was another favorite of mine. Watching MacGyver.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice. I love breakdancing, Beat Street, because I was into those type of things. I used to love I love dancing. So I remember we lived in Taft for a short period of time, but I remember the older cousins used to make me carry the cardboard, and then when it's ready for me for them to use their little secret weapon, little old me in the fourth grade, to battle the young guys in the alleyway.
Oh
So
snap!
yeah, I'll be the one carrying that cardboard. And once they say, I throw it down, they put down the radio, the stereo, and it's just going off. And as soon as the older cousin points at me and then points, then I know that's my turn to come in there and start doing my little strut, our little routine he was teaching me prior. So that's why I grew to love breakdancing and Beat Street because I was all into that. And then the TV shows like later on,
Hold
Living
on, hold on.
Single.
Back it up. Let's not get too fast away from. I never knew Queen that used to be a pop star. Pop it, lock it. So hold on, that was your time to shine at that time. I remember.
Oh man. I tell you, man, yeah, in the mid 80s, it was all about that. I used to know how to do the pop and lock, the strutting. I knew how to do the spin on the back and all that, the caterpillar and all that. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that about me. Only my siblings and the cousins that were actually there when we did all this.
And this
So
and this is with all your our older cousins. Like this is a what? Were you the only girl, or was it all boys? I
yeah, I
mean,
was the only girl at the time.
so you was. Oh yeah, that's right, because you was a tomboy back then.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
But we had other girl cousins, the boys' sisters, but they were never into it. I was the only one into it. So, we always hung around and then I'll practice with them. and then they just play music. I'm over there dancing, practicing, trying to copycat what they're doing.
Oh, damn, that's tight. That's good to
And
know.
even in middle school, back in the days, like you see TikTok now, people doing little routines like for 15 seconds, here
Mhm.
and there. We used to take that so serious. You can ask like all the younger cousins that we used to babysit and so forth. We will sit there and practice routine after routine. We used to do talent shows, and I used to always participate in the dancing competitions or the lip sync competition with my friends, and we always had a group going out there, and it was serious. You remember in Cortland, we used to go to Cortland, one of the places up in Cortland, and practice. This is when I was in the 8th grade, 7th grade. After school, we practiced our little dance routine. Then we head on home, get ready for the talent show. I mean, we went and brought outfits and so forth. I mean, it was so much fun. So when I see the little TikTok doing routines here and there, I laugh because I was like, oh yeah, we used to spend hours, but it wasn't for no 15-second routine. We literally did the entire mute the song. Like Raw Bass, you remember that song, Raw Bass It Takes Two?
Yep.
We had a routine to that, me and my girlfriends in the 8th grade, so yeah. Even taught some of my younger siblings, one of them how to dance because we were looking for someone to take over one of our friends because something happened. And of course, looked at my younger sister and I'm like, oh man, they're like, what about her? I was like, she can't dance, but that's when she learned how to dance and she became a good dancer, so that, yeah, dancing was life back then. And so, yeah. Now you
Never.
know something that you never knew about me. Hey.
That's what's up. Never underestimate the young siblings. That's when we're waiting for opportunity to shine.
Fun times. Yep.
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, snap. What about games, family games? You remember Inga Vea? How do you say that in English? Like, is it hide and go
It's hide
seek,
and
right?
seek. Well, I don't know what Ingavea is, but
That's what it is.
okay.
Hide and go seek. Yeah.
Okay, so I only knew of that when we moved home. I mean, when we
Mhm.
not moved, but when we used to visit. And they used to be playing in the dark. I'm like, why I gotta play in the dark for? But
Because it was some hardy little bastards.
but I was like, okay, I'll play along. But I remember the older sis was like, hey, you only can hide at this area and make sure I see you. I was like, okay, not knowing until later on, but it was fun times. It was good.
That was one of the favorite games back then when I was in like 7th grade, in elementary and junior high. We used to love just doing that, playing that in the village, because of course, Samoa, it's village versus in the US, there are blocks or streets, right? Or cities. But yeah, in the village, there'll be a whole bunch of us kids our age, and we always love involving the girls because that's our way to approach them. I mean, we don't write love letters to them or anything like that. We weren't taught any of that kind of stuff. Our moment, and he wasn't even trying to like just a matter of fact, just to hide with a girl, he used to run back to our friends like, oh man, we was kissing in the back there, knowing very well that wasn't true, but being young, that was the excitement thing about it. The boys had nothing but they had no choice but to believe it because they see you go hide with that girl. You will just make rumors up. Oh, but even just touching her hand, I touched her hand, and man, it felt amazing. But yeah, hide and go seek. That's in Aville in Samoa.
well, well, at least I'm hearing the first time from you guys' perspective on the excitement of hide go seeking of it.
Oh yeah, that's with the village, but with the family, oh,
Mhm.
that was fun as that.
The
Especially
game
from the
I
youngest
actually
to the
like.
oldest.
Oh, okay. The game
Mm-hmm.
I actually grow to like too was the marble game. I never thought that was.
Oh, did you ever play for money?
No, no, no. I didn't know
Yeah.
how. Yeah, I didn't. We didn't have money back in the days, but oh man, it was fun.
So the marble game for our listeners in Samoa, it's like, well, how did it go? You have one marble, you shoot you is it that you just let it roll or toss it? I forgot how that
Mhm.
goes. And then you have your own bags of marble when you see like You had to like, put it here and just flick it. And if you
Yes.
hit it, then you take that marble. Yeah,
Yep.
man, I was a good marble person,
You just be collecting
gamer,
marbles, taking them
collecting
away.
marbles. That's the hustle. Another thing we used to do was play marbles for 25 cents. So if I took your marble and you want that marble, you had to get, we had to give each other the money, so you can keep because you have your favorite marbles.
Yeah.
That was a hustle back then. Yeah, we were really creative because we didn't have much in American Samoa at that time. Another thing, we used to collect the soda cans, the cap when you pop it
Uh-huh.
open. What is that called? The little cap thing. We
The
should take
tab.
that. Yeah, the tab. We should take that off, and then we'll collect a whole bunch of them, and then we will put like a thread in it and tie it up so it becomes like a ball. And we
Mm.
should play. They call man. I forgot what it's called. So for our listeners out there, post it, comment. You guys know what I'm talking about. We should because it was the same game as when you're playing with rocks. There's 5 rocks, so you toss it in the air. You grab one rock, then you toss those 2 up in the air. Then you grab the other rock. You toss 3 up in the air. You grab. And the whole key is just like there was. I forgot what that game was called. You know
So,
what I'm
so that
talking
game
about?
that's what I was going to ask you. I was like, because it's jacks, the
There.
ball and the jacks, but I forgot what they call it in
Yep,
Samoa.
yep. And then we use rocks, or you can use them can openers.
Yes.
And it was fun. Like I gotta teach the kids that they might like it and stuff, because them old games back then was even like what is it, Scotch hop that they do out here in the U.S.
Hopscotch.
Yep,
Hopscotch.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
Our version out there was we didn't, obviously we didn't have a lot of the gravel ground to put chart to market. But what we did back then, we used to use rock. So we'll put a rock, and then you'll have to hop. Like you toss it one, you start off with like it starts off 1 hop, 2 hop, 3 hop, 4 hop, and that as the number goes up, the distant it is. So you have to like if it's like maybe what a foot away or whatever the distance is, you'll have to try to hop to jump on that other rock and then hit your opponent's rock down.
Right.
Man, we're going back in the days right now.
And then jump ropes, the rubber
Mm,
bands.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Really, man, that was huge and that was a lot of fun. You see everybody playing on the streets. High jump. Oh my goodness. Yeah, the high jump game was really fun. And then the one game that we played, I had a lot of friends, was jump rope, but like double dutch. But I was always double handed when I do double dutch. What other games in some? I know our family was into Lami tournaments back in the day. I remember seeing the grown folks always doing that,
Mm-hmm.
making some tea or pancakes, tea and bread, and
Good
then
old days.
see the elders just going off on the whole Lami game because it was serious business when it was Lami.
Lamy and bingo.
Mm-hmm.
My family was huge on that stuff. Bingo and cards. What's the other one? Was it Sweepy? Was another one?
Sweepy, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, how would you say those in English? I don't know. Do they even have an English version? I want to
Uh,
say Lamy was almost like what, like 21, but it's not really.
Lami is like Jim Rami. It's Rami Jim.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So we just call it Lamy,
But
but it's the
Sweepy, I
same thing.
have no idea.
I don't think I ever seen any other card games like that in the US. Mm-hmm.
And then I love Speed. That was my game, Speed.
I think all girls in Samoa were good at speed because I don't know. I never will ever. I sucked at speed.
The physical sport game I liked cricket. I love
Mm,
cricket.
we used to
Man,
play
got to
that a
Samoa,
lot.
cricket was it.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
we used to play that a lot in elementary, and then also rugby until we hit high school. Then we got introduced to American football, and
Mhm.
it was it from there. But yeah, do you realize that speaking of us Samoans, somebody posted something. saying that we have a 28% out of 100 to make it to the NFL when it comes to football, especially being in Samoa. And he was in the reasoning was our our culture, the family oriented, the working hard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, our tradition is all about respect and listening to our elders, and that was the factor of it. Um, well, I can tell you that I did not obviously didn't pay attention to some of those steps because I never made it to the NFL.
But were you
But
into football?
yes, I was into football. Yes, correct. I was into football. But it's pretty cool though, just to see that kind of stat, like you said earlier, from a little rock, you know. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
what our people is known for mostly is football. Because you know, Troy Polamalu and Junior Seau, you know, we have a whole lot of them out there. Marcus Mariota, and then Tua Tagovailoa,
Mm-hmm.
Juju Smith Schuster, you
There's
know.
a lot of Samoans in football sports. Um, but now you see a lot of Samoans too coming up in baseball.
Yes,
Baseball,
yes.
baseball is huge. I just wish we have a better recruiting out there in Samoa because we have some great players out there, American Samoa, and here in the States. And basketball too. But it's great. It's awesome that they see Samoans as these wonderful recruitment thing as for football and sports and stuff. But I'm excited to see the educational part for the Samoans too, people taking different routes. Because I like that you brought that up, like 28%, maybe some of the families looking like probably giving them, hey, football is not the only thing that can get you, out there or get off this island. You got other avenues, other, other opportunities. So yeah. And
You're right about that.
mhm.
You're right about that because when I was growing up and I graduated in the late 90s, and we only had a few opportunities. That was one was getting a scholarship to go to, you know, play football or just having a scholarship for educational purposes. The other option was military, which is again, st- the stats shows that American Samoa is the highest recruiting in the military.
Yes.
And then what was the other? Or the fish cannery, the only cannery that we had back home. To me, I felt like those were the only three options that we had back then. But thankfully, you know, as our generation are evolving, so is the opportunities. You know, so our people they came a long way. You know,
Yeah.
I think that's the benefit of this technology too. We're able to do a podcast, shed the light to all our, you know, brothers and sisters and just everyone around the world, educating them about, you know, who we are and what we're all about. You know,
Yeah,
at the end of the day, we're all the same. You know, we all have
absolutely.
similar traits that we all have, and that's what makes the world a beautiful place to live at.
Yeah.
Plus, another thing, to be honest with you, man, I'm just tired of looking at all these news talking about wars and inflation coming up. It's a whole lot of oppression. I just wanted to create a channel for us to just for people like ourselves who just want to tune into something knowing to get yourself away from the reality of life, because that's what, like we talked about earlier, that we enjoyed about movies. Took you away
Mhm.
from the stress of the world. That's the whole point of this entertainment, you know. So yep, unfortunately our time is up right now because we have this is our first episode though, Queen. I think we
That's
did
right.
really well, you know. But
Mhm.
do you have any shout outs as we close out?
Not right now. I'm just happy to be here. Like you said, is a little venue to just talk and communicate and just spend some quality time with you, Puni Moa.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I appreciate you getting on because, I still got some other folks that want to hop on too. And I'm not going to say the name out because him or she might have their own slang names that they want to post up here too. So, but we'll see what's going on though. But big ups to WEFOBZ for making this happen, putting this on the media site. And if you want to start your own podcast too, look up WEFOBZ, WEFOBZ .io. Yeah, .io. I think that's what it is. Or Guy's so smooth, he'll correct us. He'll correct
WEFOBZ.
WEFOBZ.
You're living up to the name WEFOBZ.
I know. But I can't wait though, Queen, like what we talked about, once we start getting used to this, start having some animation pop up in the back, I'm so mad at Amazon for not getting my stuff here. I'm recording live on a phone,
right,
on my MacBook. So stay tuned with us, guys, because it's only going to get better.
That's right.
I'm your boy, Puni Moa.
And I'm Queen.
Stay up.
This podcast, post or video is just our opinion, not professional advice. Talk to an expert before making big decisions. Don't trust everything you see online.